The red and blue lights exploded in his rearview mirror just as his son sneezed for the third time, and in that single moment Ethan knew this stop would change more than just his evening, because the ticket being written outside his window was about to open a door he'd sealed shut since the day his wife died. Ethan pulled over with the practiced calm of a man who had learned how to keep panic from touching his voice. He glanced back at the small figure bundled in a too-big hoodie, Liam's cheeks flushed with fever, eyes glassy but brave. "It's okay, buddy," Ethan said softly. "We'll be home soon." The words were a promise and a prayer. The officer approached slowly, rain ticking against her cap, her posture firm but not hard. She introduced herself, Officer Mara Collins, and asked for license and registration. Ethan's hands shook just enough for her to notice. He apologized too quickly, explained too much. He always did that now. Single dads learn to fill silence with reasons, hoping no one would think they were failing. Mara listened, really listened, glancing past him at Liam, whose small hand clutched a crumpled dinosaur toy. She saw the car seat straps worn from daily use, the medicine bottle on the dashboard, the exhaustion etched into Ethan's face like a map of nights without sleep. She stepped back to her cruiser, and Ethan watched the pen move across her pad, each stroke feeling heavier than the last. He imagined the fine, the late-night budgeting, the silent math he'd do at the kitchen table while Liam slept. When she returned, she paused, eyes lingering on the child. "You were going 10 over, she said gently. "Any reason you were in such a hurry?" "My son's sick," Ethan replied. "Fever spiked. I just picked up his prescription. I should have slowed down. I'm sorry." His voice cracked despite himself. He hated that. Hated how grief made him feel transparent. Mara nodded, writing, then stopped. The rain seemed to hold its breath. She looked up, met his eyes, and something unguarded passed between them. "If you weren't married," she said, then corrected herself with a soft, sad smile, "if you weren't already carrying so much alone, I'd add my number to this." The words surprised them both. She tore the ticket cleanly, decisively, and handed him a warning instead. On the back, in careful ink, was a phone number. "This isn't for anything improper," she added quickly. "It's for resources. There's a clinic open late. And sometimes it helps to know someone's on your side." Ethan drove away stunned, heart pounding for reasons he hadn't allowed in years. That night, after the fever broke and Liam slept peacefully, Ethan stared at the number until the digits blurred. He didn't call. Not then. But for the first time since the accident, he felt something unfamiliar warming the edges of his chest, hope, cautious and alive. 3 weeks later, the rain returned, and with it the memory of flashing lights, and this time Ethan didn't pull over. He walked into the precinct, heart thudding, carrying a box of donuts and a courage he'd been building one quiet morning at a time. The hook came not from sirens this time, but from a small hand tugging his sleeve as they stood in the lobby. "Dad," Liam whispered, "is that the lady who helped us?" Mara looked up from the desk, surprise melting into recognition. She smiled, a real smile that reached her eyes. Ethan explained himself poorly again, apologizing for intruding, offering donuts like a peace treaty. Mara laughed, the sound easy and human, and invited them to sit. They talked about ordinary things, school projects, favorite books, the way life reroutes you without asking permission. Ethan told her about his wife, about learning to braid hair and cook soups that tasted like love even when they failed. Mara told him about growing up with a mother who worked nights, about choosing the badge to be the calm presence she once needed. Weeks turned into coffees that turned into walks in the park where Liam raced pigeons and declared Mara the official keeper of dinosaur facts. There were challenges, Ethan's guilt for feeling joy again, Mara's long shifts and the weight of what she saw on the job, but they faced them with honesty. When Ethan panicked about letting someone close to his son, Mara didn't rush him. She showed up consistently, quietly, proving that care could be steady and safe. One evening, months later, they stood at a crosswalk, waiting for the light to change. Ethan realized the traffic no longer made his chest tighten. He realized he wasn't just surviving, he was living. Mara squeezed his hand, not to promise forever, but to honor now. "You know," she said softly, "that night I wrote the warning, I meant what I said. Not about the number. About not being alone." Ethan nodded, eyes shining, understanding finally settling into place. The light turned green. They stepped forward together, Liam skipping ahead, laughing. The world moved on around them, indifferent and beautiful. And Ethan understood the lesson that would carry him the rest of his life. Sometimes grace arrives disguised as consequence, sometimes love begins as a warning, and sometimes the bravest thing a single dad can do is believe that the road ahead still holds kindness, if he's willing to slow down and see it.